Hey everyone, Christy here. I'm just taking a couple minutes to encourage us in an area. This is actually an area where I have a lot of passion about. This is an area where I have a lot of failure. I feel like there's a lot of good things as well as things that I wish I did different. And this is an area of, I was raised in the church, and obviously my kids were raised in the church, and not only my kids raised in the church, but they were raised in a well-known family, and they're raised in a family that is in ministry. There's so many different levels of obviously of what my kids have had to live with. And I thought, to be honest, I was so young, and obviously God had called me to ministry. I didn't want to be in the ministry, to be honest, but I really tried to do the best that I could with my kids. I took my kids everywhere. My kids traveled the world with me their entire lives until they were, teenagers, till where they asked me that they didn't have to go anymore. I mean, all they did was travel the world. And I thought, in my mind, them being with me was a huge part of me being able to mother. And, we tried homeschool, and I thought, well, that's never going to work because I can't pass second grade math. So we had to get some other help. But I mean, like we tried so many different things for it to work because I wanted my kids with me. And this is what I've actually learned in 30 years of ministry, is that it is kind of amazing to me that you can do the best you can. And I know that I've failed in lots of different areas, fully aware of it. Every mother, hopefully, kind of, is sensitive to that fact. That's our fear, actually. But I cannot believe how we are in the church when it comes to judging not only other leaders, because man, are we horrible? I can't even believe how judgmental. I think social media is just up the game on every level where we pick people apart. But I can't believe how we pick children apart. And the stuff that my kids have had to deal with because of having a parent or family that's well known or whatever is just not okay. And we sort of well, they're in the ministry, this is the price you pay. No, because here's the thing, the kids actually didn't sign up for what we're doing. They kind of get thrown into it, and you do just do your best to obey God. But I just think, man, are we so quick to actually judge, and are we so quick to go after the kids? And I'm like, leave the kids alone. Leave the kids alone. We should leave each other alone because we are so quick to judge everything. But as the church, to go after kids and pick kids apart, and they should be this or they should do this, or do you actually realize the levels of pressure? Even labels like PK kids are the worst. That's a horrible kind of label to come up, under. And I think we just do things out of automation where we don't realize the effects of the pressure that puts on the kids. And this is a segment about leaving the kids alone. You can come after me, but if you touch my kids, we're going to have a problem. But why we can't be nice, that's a whole other teaching. That's probably a sermon series. That's probably a sermon series for a couple years. Why can't we just be nice? But leave the kids alone. Come on, church. We got to do better than this. Stop putting expectations on the kids, giving them a picture of who Jesus is, and that's not who Jesus is. Let them grow up. Let them become what they're called to be without the expectation of some prophecy or some idea of what we would like them to fit into. Because I've seen the fruit of all that stuff. It is so damaging on so many different levels. And having walked through this, listen, I'm coming out the other side. In the context, my kids are grown. I've done the best that I could. Now they have to make decisions themselves as adults. Many of you are just starting this and trying to navigate this. And my encouragement to you is get somebody around you that's farther down the road, that's been through this, with having, walked through the ministry and having kids that are raised. Because how many know everybody that's, given birth to a child is now an expert on being a mother? We don't give any time to wisdom and what people have already been through. And some of the richest, I think, wisdom in church are the lay people, and not necessarily on somebody on staff, but get somebody around you that can encourage you if you're just starting out and trying to figure out how to navigate this with your kids. But as the church as a whole, we need to get nicer, and we need to stop. And would you want what you're saying about somebody else's kids to be said about you and your kids? Because if you wouldn't want it to come back on you, and this is a kingdom principle, then don't put it out there. Because I'll just tell you this, it's really damaging. And it's really hurtful. And it's no good. There's no good that comes from stuff like this. This is an area that we got to get better, because I'm telling you, so the younger generations don't want any part, nor would we want to be a part of something where we feel like we're showing up to be judged. So we got to get better at this. This is one of the areas that we got to grow in. Leave the kids alone, and leave the parents alone, but leave the kids alone.